Welcome. Welcome to the deep dive.
Ah,
Today we're plunging headfirst into a phenomenon that's, frankly, keeps popping up and surprising a lot of us.
yeah.
It's the unexpected, but really undeniable resurgence of an ancient philosophy. We are talking about Stoicism.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? For centuries, Stoicism was, largely tucked away in dusty academic texts, sort of a niche interest for scholars, maybe historians.
Right.
But suddenly, it's not just back, it's everywhere. It feels like this ancient wisdom has just exploded into the mainstream. There's this urgency about it that reflects something pretty profound about our modern world, I think.
That's a great way to put it. You see it in best-selling books,
Yep.
and they're not just hidden in the philosophy section anymore.
No, not at all.
They're right there in self-help, business strategy, personal development. Titles like William B. Irvine's A Guide to the Good Life, Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way, Donald Robertson's How to Think Like a Roman Emperor.
And the Daily Stoic, too, Holiday's other big one.
Exactly. And online. Forget about it. It's just a constant stream blogs, articles, podcasts, all dedicated to Stoic ideas.
And it's not just like for the casual, curious person looking for a bit of self-improvement. Its influence has seeped into really high levels, professional circles.
Yeah.
CEOs, hedge fund managers, powerful executives, like Jonathan Newhouse, the CEO of Condé Nast International. He's apparently referred to Stoicism as an ideal personal operating system.
An operating system. I like that. Tim Ferriss, too, right? The author and investor.
Yeah, he's echoed that same idea, positioning it as this sort of foundational mental framework for dealing with complex challenges.
And it's not just theory for these people, is it? We're seeing Stoicism actively used by professional athletes, figures in entertainment like LL Cool J.
Michelle Tafoya, the broadcaster.
Right. And even in the NFL, which is kind of surprising. Such a high-pressure environment.
It really is. It just shows how this philosophy, born in ancient Greece and Rome, has found such a practical, powerful footing in today's demanding world.
It really speaks to the actionable nature of it, doesn't it? It's not just abstract thinking.
Exactly. It's a toolkit for living. Like the journalist Ambrose Bierce. He once told a young writer to study the Stoics, to learn how to be a worthy guest at the table of the gods.
Wow.
Yeah, a poetic way of saying how to live with dignity, with purpose. And the painter Eugene Delacroix called it his consoling religion. Gives you a sense of the solace it can provide.
So these aren't just academics thinking about it.
No, these are, as one source puts it, the doers of the world. People who found it gives them much-needed strength and stamina for their challenging lives. William Alexander Percy, who led rescue efforts during the massive 1927 flood, he said of Stoicism, "When all is lost, it stands fast."
That's powerful stuff.
It really is. So we're seeing this ancient philosophy hitting home with people who are right in the thick of it, facing huge pressures. Which brings us to the big question for our deep dive today. Why Stoicism?
And maybe even more importantly, why now? What is it about this ancient way of thinking that resonates so deeply with people in our, totally modern, information-soaked, often kind of anxious world?
That's exactly what we want to explore today. Our mission is to dig into how modern authors have taken this ancient wisdom, interpreted it, distilled it, made it accessible, relevant for a new generation.
Okay.
We'll look at their specific takes, the connections they make to today's challenges, and really try to understand the enduring relevance of Stoicism for you, our listener, as you navigate modern life. What makes this ancient operating system so appealing right now?
Sounds like a fascinating journey. Let's start with William B. Irvine. His book, A Guide to the Good Life, The Ancient Art of Stoic Joy. It's become really influential.
Definitely.
Irvine approaches Stoicism not as some dry academic thing, but as a really practical, actionable philosophy. A guide to living a life that's, meaningful and fulfilling, ultimately leading to what he calls tranquility and joy.
And it's really important to get what Irvine means by tranquility there, because it's easy to misunderstand.
Right, like being zoned out or something.
Exactly. He's very clear. It's not some zombie-like state from tranquilizers. It's not perpetual bliss either. It's more about the absence of negative emotions, things like anger, grief, anxiety, fear, and crucially, the presence of positive emotions, specifically joy.
But not like jump up and down elations.
No, he says this stoic joy is a stern matter. It's deeper, more profound contentment. And he notes, look, for most of us who aren't perfect stoic sages, it might be intermittent. but it's still significantly greater, more enduring than what we might usually experience. It's a joy that comes from living well internally, not just from good stuff happening externally.
What I find really insightful about Irvine's approach is how quickly he gets to the core of what Stoicism asks. It forces you to fundamentally reconsider your goals.
Yeah, that's huge.
He highlights the Stoic claim, which is pretty radical actually, that many things we chase relentlessly today, like fame, fortune, external approval, they're just not worth pursuing as the main goals for a good life. Instead, the focus shifts completely. It goes internal to virtue, to building inner character, and achieving this deep sense of tranquility. It's a total reevaluation of what matters.
And that reevaluation leads straight to one of the most powerful, maybe most famous Stoic concepts, the dichotomy of control, which Epictetus laid out so clearly.
Right. The some things are up to us, some things aren't idea.
Exactly. Irvine really emphasizes this. Some things are up to us. Our opinions, our desires, our choices, our actions. And some things are fundamentally not up to us. Our bodies, ultimately. Our property, our reputation in the eyes of others, external events generally.
Okay.
The key to tranquility, Epictetus says, is realizing our real power lies only in controlling our internal responses. Our will, our judgments, our actions. Regardless of what's happening outside, that's the foundation of Stoic inner peace.
That concept is so central. But Irvine adds a layer to it, doesn't he? A kind of refinement. What's that nuance?
Yeah, he does, and it's really useful. The phrase, some things aren't up to us, can be a bit ambiguous. Does it mean we have zero control, like over the weather? Or does it mean we don't have complete control, like over getting a promotion or even our health?
Oh.
Irvine points out that a lot of things fall into this third category, things over which we have some control, but not complete control. And this isn't just playing with words, it's a big shift in perspective.
How so?
It acknowledges that real agency isn't about bossing the external world around, which is impossible anyway. It's about mastering your response to it. The insight is how often we accidentally tie our peace of mind to external results we can't guarantee. Irvine basically gives us a way to reclaim that inner control.
So, for those areas where we only have partial control, what's the Stoic strategy then? How do you stay tranquil?
This is where Irvine talks about internalizing goals. It's brilliant, really. Instead of setting the external goal of, say, making your spouse love you, which you can't fully control, a Stoic internalizes the goal. To behave to the best of my ability in a lovable manner. See the difference? Or with the difficult box, the goal isn't necessarily getting the promotion, but doing your job excellently, fulfilling your duties to the best of your ability.
Ah, focusing on your own actions.
Precisely. By internalizing the goal, you preserve your tranquility, because success depends entirely on your actions, your effort, your character, not on unpredictable external outcomes. It frees you from the anxiety tied to things you can't ultimately command.
That sounds incredibly liberating. Takes the pressure off results and puts it on effort and character.
Okay, then there's this other technique, negative visualization, it sounds. Well, negative.
It does, doesn't it? It's very counterintuitive, but it's incredibly powerful.
So what is it exactly? Thinking about bad stuff happening. Basically, yes. Contemplating the loss of things you value. Your loved ones, your possessions, your health. The idea, though, isn't to make you miserable. It's the opposite.
Oh.
By thinking about losing them, you stop taking them for granted. It dramatically enhances your appreciation for them right now, in the present moment.
But wouldn't that just cause constant worry or sadness? That's what most people would think.
That's the common reaction, sure. Why dwell on loss? Won't that just make me miserable? But the Stoic insight, as Irvine explains it, is that it's preventative. It's like a mental inoculation.
Against what?
Against the shock of loss when it inevitably happens, especially if we've taken things for granted. That's where the real heartache comes from, he argues. By mentally rehearsing loss, you don't just prepare for bad times, you actually intensify your gratitude for what you do have right now.
So you appreciate people more, your health more?
Exactly. More acutely, more consciously, because you've genuinely considered their impermanence. It removes the shock factor and ensures you sort of take full advantage of relationships while they last. It reduces future regrets. It makes you more present, more appreciative in your own life.
Okay, that makes more sense when you put it that way. What about fatalism? Stoics get labeled as fatalistic sometimes. Irvine clarifies this too, right?
He does, and it's a crucial distinction. There's fatalism about the past. Our actions can't change it, so dwelling on what's already happened is useless. It destroys tranquility. So accept what's done.
Right.
But fatalism about the future is totally different. Our actions can and do have an effect. Human freedom, for the Stoics, lies exactly in the determinative effect of our choices, our agency on our lives. We have the power to choose our responses, our efforts, our character. That absolutely shapes our future, even if we can't control every single external thing. It's a very active kind of acceptance, not passive resignation.
Irvine also clears up another common mix-up. The idea that Stoicism means you have to live like a monk, in poverty, confusing it with cynicism.
Yeah, that's a common one. He goes back to Seneca, a key Stoic figure. Seneca makes it really clear that Stoicism calls for plain living, but not for penance.
Okay, so not self-punishment.
Not at all. It's perfectly okay to acquire wealth as long as you do it ethically without harming others. You can even enjoy it. The key is not clinging to it, not becoming enslaved by it.
Indifference to it.
Exactly. Seneca says the wise person despises riches alike when I have them and when I have them not. Viewing wealth as a tool, a slave, not your master. So you can possess wealth without being possessed by it. Maintaining that indifference protects your tranquility. It's freedom from attachment, not necessarily freedom from having things.
It's interesting, too, Irvine's own path to Stoicism. He said he was initially drawn to Zen Buddhism,
Right.
but found it didn't quite mesh with his relentlessly analytical nature. He felt Stoicism actually expected him to use that analytical mind.
Which is a great point about Stoicism's flexibility. It appeals to that rational, analytical side. And for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, where do I start? Irvine gives very practical advice.
Yeah.
Don't try to master everything at once. He suggests starting with just one technique, negative visualization. He thinks it can bring about a really dramatic and surprisingly quick shift in your outlook. Immediately deepens your appreciation for what you have.
So Irvine really shows us how Stoicism helps build that inner peace, that tranquility. But what happens when that peace gets seriously challenged by huge external obstacles, the kind that might just break other philosophies?
Well, that's where Ryan Holiday's interpretation really shines. He shifts the focus a bit from just inner calm to, well, outright triumph over adversity.
With his book, The Obstacle is the Way, the timeless art of turning trials into triumph, he's become a huge voice in modern Stoicism.
Absolutely huge. Holiday's core idea is brilliantly simple but incredibly empowering. Adversity isn't something to just endure or avoid. It's actually an opportunity. A roadblock is just a chance in disguise.
An opportunity for what?
As he puts it, obstacles are chances to test ourselves, to try new things, and ultimately to triumph. He draws this direct line between ancient Stoic principles and modern success. In business, in sports, in strategy, he makes a really compelling case that every setback holds the seed of an advantage.
And he uses some powerful historical examples to back this up, right?
Oh yeah, really vivid ones. Take John D. Rockefeller, maybe the wealthiest person in modern history.
Right.
He faced the massive market crash, the Panic of 1857. While everyone else was panicking, losing their shirts, Rockefeller kept his sang-froid, that unflappable coolness under extreme pressure.
So he didn't panic?
No. He calmly watched the chaos, learned from others' mistakes, and saw fundamental weaknesses, opportunities that others missed. This allowed him to strategically buy up distressed assets on the cheap, laying the foundation for Standard Oil and his incredible fortune. He turned a crisis into a massive opportunity.
Then there's someone like Steve Jobs, who seemed to constantly overcome impossible hurdles.
Exactly. Holiday points to Jobs' malleable, adamant, self-confident view of reality. He just didn't accept limitations the way other people did. Holiday compares it to Napoleon saying, "There shall be no Alps."
Right.
That mindset allowed Jobs to aim ridiculously high and create revolutionary stuff, despite tons of setbacks, both personal and professional. His resilience, that refusal to be stopped by obstacles, was key to his genius.
And Abraham Lincoln, another amazing example of resilience under crushing pressure.
Lincoln, the way Holiday presents him, really shows how tough experiences can forge an unbreakable will. His real strength was his will, hammered out through severe experience, especially the Civil War. He led the nation through its absolute darkest time with this incredible mix of resignation, accepting the awful reality, but without hopelessness. He even kept a sense of humor. He saw politics philosophically, and his favorite saying, "This too shall pass." Pure stoicism, keeping perspective amid terrible trials and loss. It kept him going.
And maybe the most intense example, Captain James Stockdale.
Stockdale's story, it's just incredible. Shot down over Vietnam, captured, he endured 7.5 years of brutal torture as a POW.
Unimaginable.
And upon capture, he literally told himself, "I am entering the world of Epictetus." He consciously decided to apply the Stoic principles he'd studied. He even deliberately injured himself badly so he couldn't be used effectively in enemy propaganda films. He relied entirely on his inner strength, his inner citadel, to resist and survive when everything external was designed to break him. He's like the living embodiment of Stoicism under fire.
So Holiday takes these Stoic ideas and organizes them into 3 practical disciplines. Really actionable stuff for anyone facing a tough time. The first is perception, how we see things. Can you unpack that?
Sure. Perception is all about controlling the story you tell yourself about what's happening, limiting those gut reactions, those passions, filtering out prejudice, expectations, fear. The goal is to see things simply and straightforwardly as they truly are, neither good nor bad.
Just the fact.
Pretty much. Stripping away the emotional baggage, the biases, the knee-jerk judgments, to get to an objective understanding. It's about that pause, observing and then choosing how you frame the situation. So external events don't automatically dictate your internal state. This goes right back to Epictetus. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things.
Okay, that makes sense. That leads right to the second discipline, action. How does Holiday connect Stoicism to actually getting things done?
Action is about forward motion, persistence. Holiday really emphasizes this with lines like, "It's okay to be discouraged, it's not okay to quit."
Powerful.
He points to people like Thomas Edison. His breakthroughs didn't just come from brilliant ideas, they came from an incredible tolerance for difficulties, just grinding through failure after failure. It's about resistance, steady effort, disciplined execution, even when you hit wall after wall. It's the practical, hands-on part of Stoic determination.
And the third discipline, will. Building that inner citadel. What does that involve?
Will is about cultivating that unshakable inner fortress. This uses powerful Stoic tools like anticipation, or what's sometimes called thinking negatively. Not being pessimistic, but contemplating potential challenges or losses.
Like negative visualization again.
Exactly. To better appreciate what you have now and to mentally prepare for bumps in the road. It also includes amor fati, loving your fate, loving everything that happened.
Loving everything, even the bad stuff.
Yeah, it sounds extreme, but it's not just resignation. It's an active, almost joyful embrace of every circumstance, good or bad, seeing it as necessary for your growth, part of the bigger picture. It's looking at a challenge and thinking, okay, this is exactly what I needed.
Wow.
It also covers perseverance, meditating on mortality, not morbidly, but to appreciate the present, and that deep willingness to prepare to start again, even if everything falls apart. It's the core inner strength that keeps you composed and purposeful no matter what chaos is swirling outside.
Holiday's work also really brings out how deeply Stoicism influenced major historical figures, not just philosophers. It's like this hidden thread of resilience running through history.
It absolutely is. Frederick the Great of Prussia. He apparently carried Stoic texts with him, relied on them to sustain you in misfortune during his very challenging reign. Montaigne, the great essayist, had Epictetus carved above his study fireplace, a constant reminder. George Washington. He didn't just study Stoicism, he famously used a play about Cato, the ultimate Roman Stoic, to inspire his troops during that awful winter at Valley Forge. Talk about embodying resilience.
And it goes right into the founding of America.
It does. Thomas Jefferson reportedly had Seneca on his nightstand when he died. Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, deeply influenced by Stoicism, especially in his theory of moral sentiments. We mentioned Delacroix calling it his consoling religion. Toussaint Louverture, the leader of the Haitian Revolution, who took on Napoleon, deeply influenced by Epictetus' ideas on freedom and self-mastery. And John Stuart Mill, on Liberty, called Stoicism the highest ethical product of the ancient mind. That's high praise.
It really is. Yeah. These are minor players. Stoicism clearly resonated with and shaped people who shaped our world, guiding them through huge changes and crises.
Definitely.
Okay, so that brings us to Donald Robertson. His book, How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, focusing on Marcus Aurelius. It makes this really fascinating, powerful connection. The link between ancient Stoic techniques and modern cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Yes, and this is huge for understanding why Stoicism feels so relevant and frankly effective today. Robertson, building on work by scholars like Pierre Hadon, sees Marcus Aurelius' meditations not as some theoretical essay.
No,
he sees it as an intensely practical manual, a series of spiritual exercises designed for real self-criticism and self-transformation. These were Marcus's daily practices for actively working on his own character, engaging directly with his own mind.
And he wasn't just sitting in a quiet room doing this.
Not at all. He wrote these meditations on a day-to-day basis during the incredibly turbulent last years of his reign. We're talking plagues, natural disasters, constant wars on the borders, losing many of his own children.
Wow.
He was literally using philosophy in real time, like a mental operating system, to handle extreme, crushing adversity. This isn't theory, it's a battle-tested method.
So Robertson, and had it before him, they map out these three Stoic disciplines from Epictetus and Marcus and show how they directly parallel modern therapy, especially CBT.
Exactly. They're not just abstract ideas, they're tools. The first is the discipline of judgment, or assent. This lines up with logic. It teaches us not to give assent too quickly to smooth talkers, or, more importantly, to our own unexamined, often distorted thoughts and impressions.
And this connects directly to that core Epictetus quote, right?
Yeah.
What troubles people is not things, but their judgments about things.
That quote is absolutely central. In practice, this discipline means making a conscious, rigorous effort to separate objective descriptions from subjective interpretations in our own minds.
Okay, by the way.
Objective is just the bare facts. He was sent to jail. Subjective adds our value judgments, our emotional spin. He is unhappy, or this is terrible, or it's unfair. The goal is to define things in their nudity, stripped of our emotional baggage, our biases, fears, expectations.
And that's like CBT.
It's a direct parallel to cognitive restructuring in CBT. Identifying distorted thoughts, challenging them, reframing them to be more aligned with reality. This reduces the emotional distress caused by the distorted thought itself. It's about questioning those automatic assumptions we make.
That's a really clear, powerful link to modern psychology. What's the second discipline?
The second is the discipline of impulses or action, which relates directly to ethics, how we act in the world. It focuses on living in accordance with reason and serving the community.
So, acting thoughtfully, not just reacting.
Exactly. Acting on what's truly indispensable. Focusing on doing little actions consistently, well, without getting lost in feverish agitation, that frantic, scattered energy. And crucially, always including a reserve clause in your plans.
A reserve clause, what's that mean in practice?
It's a sophisticated bit of mental preparation taught by Epictetus. It's not pessimism. It's consciously adding fate willing or if nothing prevents me to your intentions. You recognize that external stuff outside your control might get in the way.
Oh, okay.
This mentally prepares you, inoculates you against the shocks and disappointments that are just part of life. You can commit fully to your actions, but you won't be shattered if things go wrong because you've already factored in that possibility. It helps maintain calm even when plans derail.
Marcus Aurelius seems to capture this intensity of action with his line, "Each of life's actions must be performed as if it were the last." That sounds intense.
It is intense, and it's meant to be. It's not about rushing around worried about dying. It's about bringing maximum focus, attention, and, yes, love to whatever you're doing right now, as if it were the most important thing, complete in itself.
Being fully present.
Exactly. Pouring your best self into this moment, acting virtuously because this moment is the only one you truly have. It builds both mindfulness and moral focus.
Okay, and the third discipline?
The third is the discipline of desire. This connects to physics or cosmology, understanding your place in the grand scheme of things. It involves gradually renouncing desires for things that are ultimately not up to us.
Like wealth, status, even perfect health.
Right. Things you can influence maybe, but can't fully guarantee. And conversely, avoiding aversion, that strong pushing away of things that are often inevitable, like poverty, sickness, aging, death. The goal is to desire only moral good. Virtue, wisdom, things fully in your control, and avoid only moral evil.
And the rest? The indifferent things.
Accept them as willed by the will of universal nature. Cultivating this indifference to externals isn't apathy. It's profound inner freedom, resilience.
And this ties into how Stoics like Seneca viewed intense emotions like grief and anger.
Absolutely. Seneca called anger brief insanity, anti-joy. He saw both anger and grief as destructive emotions that wreck tranquility and cloud your reason. But crucially, and this is a common misunderstanding, the Stoics didn't aim to eliminate all emotion.
Right.
They knew some grief, some anger is unavoidable for humans, so they developed sophisticated strategies to minimize these destructive emotions, to control their onset, their duration. The goal isn't eradication, but managing their impact on your rational judgment and inner peace. Again, very similar to CBT's focus on regulating emotional responses.
What's really cool is how these three disciplines, judgment, action, desire, aren't separate things. They work together.
Exactly. They're mutually interdependent. They form, as Haddock put it, one single act or disposition, a unified system for living. They're only separated conceptually by their focus: human thought, logic, human society, ethics, and the cosmos, physics, nature.
So you can talk about them separately, but you live them all at once.
Precisely. Haddock says logic, physics, ethics are distinguishable when we talk about philosophy, but not when we live it. They're woven together, each reinforcing the others in the ongoing practice of living a good, calm life. It's a truly holistic approach to mastering yourself.
Okay, so we've looked at these key modern interpreters, Irvine, Holiday, Robertson, and how they bring Stoicism to life, connecting it to tranquility, resilience, even modern therapy. Now, let's tackle that big question again. Why is this ancient philosophy having such a moment right now? What's going on in our world that makes Stoicism so appealing today?
Well, one huge factor has to be the culture of anxiety we live in.
Right.
Think about the sheer amount of information hitting us constantly. The 247 news cycles, social media, it's relentless.
Yeah, it really is.
A lot of people are just running on autopilot, as one source said, until something happens, a personal crisis, maybe just a sudden insight that makes them search for a deeper philosophy of life, something to anchor them.
And Stoicism offers that.
It offers a concrete, battle-tested framework for finding some inner peace, that tranquility in a world that gives us so much to be angry or worried about.
It really does. It gives you practical tools right now to manage those emotions that feel so amplified today. Fear, anxiety, anger, grief. With constant breaking news, social media comparisons, economic worries, having a system to process all that without getting overwhelmed, that's incredibly valuable. Stoicism helps you put a buffer between the crazy external world and your internal reaction.
Another big driver, I think, is a search for meaning, maybe particularly in a more secular age. For a lot of people, traditional religious frameworks might not resonate the way they used to, or maybe they're looking for something to complement their faith. Stoicism offers this robust ethical system. It's non-theistic, or at least broadly compatible with many beliefs. It provides a comprehensive plan for a good life. Remember Delacroix calling it his consoling religion. That speaks to its power to give purpose, a moral compass that isn't necessarily tied to dogma or the supernatural. It grounds meaning in virtue, duty, living reasonably, aligning with nature.
It's interesting, you mentioned earlier how Stoicism kind of fell out of favor in academic philosophy for a lot of the 20th century.
Yeah, that's true. Philosophy became very academic, theoretical, focused on language, logic puzzles, less on the practical how to live questions.
So its comeback now suggests people are really hungry for that practical wisdom again. Not just abstract ideas, but stuff they can actually use.
Absolutely. Which leads right back to that idea from Tim Ferriss' Stoicism as an operating system for the modern mind. That's more than just a catchy phrase. It suggests a set of core principles, mental tools that help you process information, make decisions, manage your inner state more efficiently with less emotional static.
Like mental software.
Kind of. In a world with constant demands, endless distractions, countless choices, Stoicism gives you that inner citadel, a mental fortress you can retreat to, a part of yourself you can absolutely control no matter what's going on outside. It's like a personal firewall for your brain.
And it really emphasizes focusing on what's up to us. That provides such a powerful filter, doesn't it, in this information-overloaded world?
Totally. When you get clear on what you control versus what you don't, it just cuts through so much noise. It reduces mental clutter. It helps you prioritize what actually matters, which frees up huge amounts of mental and emotional energy.
And finally, there's just the raw appeal of resilience and inner strength. It's timeless.
Definitely. The stories we talked about, Stockdale, Lincoln, they show how Stoicism provides strength and stamina exactly when all is lost. The philosophies focus on internal control, on accepting what you can't control. It builds mental toughness, adaptability, which are just crucial skills in such an unpredictable world.
And that core message from Holiday, the obstacle is the way. Seeing challenges not as dead ends, but as opportunities. That's incredibly empowering. It gives you a practical way to face hard times, to turn setbacks into fuel for growth, instead of just getting crushed by them. So what does all this mean for us, for you listening?
Ultimately, I think Stoicism is having this major comeback because human nature doesn't really change that much. The fundamental problems we face, desire, fear, loss, anger, grief, finding meaning. These aren't new problems created by the internet or modern life.
Right, they're ancient problems.
Exactly. They're universal human challenges. They cross cultures, centuries, technologies. And the ancient wisdom of the Stoics offers direct, practical, actionable solutions to these enduring struggles. Solutions that have been tested by millions of people for over 2,000 years.
It's not about escaping reality or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot. It's about engaging with life, with all its ups and downs, but with more clarity, more purpose, and crucially, more inner strength. It offers a path to a calmer, more fulfilling life, not just theories to think about. It meets you where you are and helps you build resilience from the inside out.
So we really encourage you, our listener, to explore some of these modern interpretations and the original texts we've talked about today. If you want a modern starting point, William B. Irvine's A Guide to the Good Life is excellent. Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way is super practical, or Donald Robertson's How to Think Like a Roman Emperor for that CBT connection.
And if you're feeling adventurous, ready to dive into the originals, new translations of Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius are widely available, and honestly, they're incredibly readable and packed with wisdom that still feels fresh today.
As we wrap up this deep dive, maybe leave you with that powerful thought from Marcus Aurelius, a guiding principle for so many Stoics. Each of life's actions must be performed as if it were the last.
How does viewing each moment, each action, with that kind of intensity, that kind of care and love, how does that change your experience of life? It's a question worth sitting with long after this deep dive is over, maybe even a daily practice in itself.
We've learned the concepts and met the key players in this modern revival. In our final deep dive next week, we're going to put it all together. We'll build a practical Stoic daily routine step by step that you can start using immediately.
Looking forward to that. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.